Hello, my name is Luisa Villarreal.
My name is Decay Turesti, and we're going to talk about Chernobyl nuclear disaster. We're going to show 2 real-life examples that this can be applied, and we're going to explain this event.
Also, we're going to explain the exponential functions.
And we're from Campus Santa Catarina.
My name is Diana Chavez.
My name is Ilse Chapa, and we're from Campus Garcesada.
And we're going to explain exponential functions using the Chernobyl explosion as an example.
The Chernobyl accident is the most serious accident in history of the nuclear industry. The Chernobyl nuclear power plant is located in Ukraine, 20 kilometers south of the border with Belarus. The accident occurred on April 26, 1986, when operators at the power plant ran a test on an electric control system of one of the reactors. The accident happened because of a combine of a basic engineering deficiencies in the reactor and faculty actions of the operators. The safety system had been switched off, and the reactor was being operated under improper, unstable conditions, a situation which allowed an uncontrollable power surge to occur. This led to a cascade of events, resulting in a series of explosions and consequent fires that several damaged the reactor building, completely destroying the reactor and caused the release of massive amounts of radioactive materials over a 10-day period.
The cloud from the burning reactor spread many types of radioactive materials, especially iodine-131 and cesium-137, over much of Europe. Because radioactive iodine disintegrates rapidly, it largely disappeared within the first weeks of the accident. Radioactive cesium, however, is still measurable in soils of some foodstuffs in many parts of Europe. The greatest contamination occurred around the reactor in areas that are now part of Belarus, Russia, and Ukraine. For the decades to come, the most important pollutant will be cesium-137 followed by strontium-90. Plutonium and its decay products, in particular americium-241, will remain in the environment over a longer term of hundreds of thousands of years at low levels. Nowadays, more than 5 million people live in areas that are considered to be contaminated with radioactive materials from the Chernobyl accident. The principal risks associated with nuclear power arise from health effects of radiation. This radiation consists of subatomic particles traveling at or near the velocity of light, 186,000 miles per second. They can penetrate deep inside the human body, where they can damage biological cells and thereby initiate cancer. Nuclear power plants release radiation into the atmosphere and into our waters, where radioactive iodine, strontium, cesium, and tritium are released into the atmosphere. They are brought to the earth through rainfall. They are then absorbed by crops in our farmland, contaminating our food supply.
In the finance world, a saving account with an annual interest rate of growth exponentially becomes the amount of money in the account increases annually by the proportion.
In population biology, any theoretical population of living organisms exhibits exponential growth as long as it has no resource limitations.
What is exponential growth? What is the function and graph that models and represents it? What are the main characteristics? What is exponential decay? Exponential growth is a growth whose rate becomes even more rapid in proportion to the growing total number or size. Exponential growth and decay can be expressed in the form a times b to the x power. The variable x is an exponent. As such, the graph of these functions are not straight lines. In a straight line, the rate of change is the same across the graph. In exponential functions, the rate of change increases or decreases across the graphs.
What are the implications of using nuclear energy? Do you consider nuclear energy to be clean energy? Nuclear energy has many advantages and disadvantages. Some advantages are that nuclear power emits relatively low amounts of carbon dioxide, Therefore, the emission of greenhouse gases and contribution to the global warming is pretty low. Also, it is possible to generate big amounts of energy with one single plant. On the other hand, the waste of radioactive energy is extremely dangerous, and it has to be looked after many thousands of years. According to the United States Protection Agency, 10,000 years are needed. The energy source for nuclear energy is uranium. Its supply is estimated to last only for another 30 to 60 years. Are you aware that there is a nuclear energy plant in Mexico? Where is it? Do you think it is safe? Do you agree with the fact that there is a nuclear energy plant in your country? Laguna Verde Nuclear Power Plant is located in Veracruz. It is the only nuclear power plant in Mexico, and it produces about 4.5% of the country's electrical energy. It has its advantages and disadvantages. We think it is dangerous if a malfunction occurs and it explodes, because it has long-lasting effects and it takes many years to remove nuclear energy. It would be a national catastrophe. We really think it's dangerous, but it produces a considerably important amount of energy for our country, so it is necessary.
Could the Chernobyl 1986 nuclear disaster have been prevented? How? Once the explosion happened, was there any way to stop the radiation spread and its pollution? Do you think that radioactive pollution generated by this disaster reached Mexico? What are at least 4 environmental consequences of the Chernobyl 1986 disaster? It could have been prevented if the safety system had been followed correctly. There was no way to stop the radiation because it spreads extremely fast and it penetrates the atmosphere. We think that because of the distance, it didn't reach Mexico, but still radiation and nuclear energy is very powerful, so maybe there are some particles in Mexico. A big amount of gases, toxins, and radiation were spread throughout the atmosphere, and there is still nuclear energy till today. What are the environmental consequences of other nuclear disasters and use of nuclear weapons? There are many environmental consequences that nuclear disaster cause. Many people die because of the chemicals and toxins released. Explosives generate a great amount of gases that stay in the atmosphere and spread rapidly. Also, radiation stays in the place where nuclear explosion occurs. Radiation damages DNA, especially as it assembles in dividing cells such as gut lining, skin, and bone marrow. What do you think and feel about these consequences? What would be a solution proposal for this situation? The solution is to have the correct safety precautions and to locate nuclear plants away from places with population. So, if an accident occurs, the effect can have a less impact on people.
How did we feel working like this? Did we like it? Was it difficult? What did I like the most of working with my teammates in this form? We liked the project. It was really interesting and we realized how much the effects of a nuclear explosion can last. It wasn't as difficult as we expected, but the investigating part was pretty long. We liked that we didn't need to hang out physically, and we also learned that working through Drive and WhatsApp is a really good way to communicate and reach an agreement.